No? That's probably
Say just a few words. I'll start at the bottom, work my way over to the top. The 82 and 83 teams, y'all were, a lot of you older guys especially, y'all were like rock stars to me. Then I had the opportunity to play with some of you guys, Todd, Jason, Tim, Shane, Mark, Brian. Chance to play with you guys, but I remember going to those games when you guys were playing. I remember Sonny getting his nose broke and Glendale coming in and playing that day in the postseason. Big time. Just y'all, like I said, y'all, you guys were rock stars to people like me. Guys graduated in 82 and 83, along some of you older guys have played a lot. You know, you kind of set the standard for, you know, it's not acceptable to do anything other than win. And I appreciate that. What you guys have done becomes a little more special every year. To do that 2 years in a row, it's amazing. Alex James. I was principal. Alex James the last 2 years of high school. I left my her freshman year, I left, and I vividly remember I left at fall break, took a principal job in Grayson County. By the grace of God, I got out of there and got to come back home. But Alex Jane and a few more took silly string and destroyed my office one day. And she's sitting back there, and she remembers that. She's nodding. And I remember her playing basketball those last 2 years. We did not set any academic standards, but we set a state record for the number of pep rallies. We had a pep rally every morning before school started. And I vividly remember standing outside the fence in right field when they won the district tournament in baseball. So a lot of good times there. You know, Gary's not here tonight. And I'm not gonna jump ahead of Ed on that, because Ed knows him a whole lot better than I do. But Gary was my coach for 3 years, and we went a lot of places. My freshman year, I didn't realize we played in basketball. We played the defending state champs. We played the team that won the state championship that year. We played Logan County, who won it the year before. We played Hopkinsville, who won it that year, and we played Pulaski County, who won it the next year. So I see some of the guys back there that. We ran the gauntlet that year. I remember a bunch of you got hurt, and a couple of them missed the bus, and I got to start at center against Hopkinsville. And they beat us like a drum that night. 6'2" and 125 pounds. I also want to recognize, you know, Gary was appreciative to be here, but Rhonda was a lot more thrilled than Gary was. And Rhonda, you know, I told him this week, playing for you wasn't always easy. It helped prepare me for life, but it wasn't always easy. But Rhonda was always somebody that supported us. And you know, I want to recognize her here tonight for what she did as a coach's wife. Dion Houchins. I've known Dion all of my life. I'll tell a little story. Dion, Ed was your junior high basketball coach, wasn't he? Ed Rich? Yeah. Okay. I went to Rock, and my dad coached at Brownsville, and he coached Scott, some of these guys, Scott Key, Barry Vincent. A bunch of those guys played over here at Brownsville. Ed taught me how to fill out a shot chart where you write down the number where everybody shoots, and if they hit, they circle it. Ed had me keeping a shot chart on my dad's team at his game to bring back, and I was scouting for Ed against my dad's team. Daddy turns around about the third quarter and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Coach Rich told me to." He said he'd give me an A. Like I couldn't get an A on my own. But I've got to say this about Dion. I've never said this in front of him before. When there were people that I paid a lot of attention to, and Stan Alexander was one of those people. And Stan told me one day, he said, "You need to be like Dion Houchins." He said, in 4 years of high school, Dion never did anything. He was never out of place. He was never anywhere that he wasn't supposed to be. He didn't try to do anything because of who he was to get noticed or anything like that. I don't know what that says about the rest of you, but he did point him out. So, you know, I wanted him to know that somebody said that about him one time. Linuel Meredith, I just met just a minute ago. But as I just told him, I know he was a great baseball player because I had health right down here in the corner down here, and I had Gerald Meredith for health. And we talked, he knew I was a baseball fanatic, and we talked quite a bit about his brother. And I'm going to introduce Coach Gerald Meredith to come up right now, who is the biggest fan of Linuel Meredith that there is. Coach, come on.
Thank you. Oh, it's my little bit, I'm not very tall. Okay, Linuel Meredith. Grew up in Beast Range. Started throwing anything he could get his hands on when he was about 4 years old. Sometimes he'd throw corn cobs at me, and because he was a baby, and Mom wouldn't let me with me. I wanted to. But his name is really Linuel David Jr. Cobb. So now you know where he got his nickname from, the corn cobs at me. He pitched 2 years of high school here, junior and senior year. Had some fantastic records. 4 no-hitters, 2 earned runs, 87 innings. That is miraculous. Tracy Meredith said about him, I'll tell you how good Linuel Meredith was. He struck Jim Albee out 3 times in one day, and Jimmy Albee signed straight in to the major leagues out of high school. Keith Madison said, if I'd had Lynn's curveball, I'd have retired from the major leagues. So that's 2 good recommendations for Lynn. Our grandfather ran a pickle buying station. Farmers would bring their pickles in. And this is my first job, Lynn's first job. He paid us pretty good. And little Fred, Lynn would take his ball gloves, 2 gloves and a ball, and he had a boy that grew up with him there, real close. And when he wasn't weighing up pickles, they played catch. He played catch with everybody he could play with. He threw more balls before he ever got to high school than most people ever throw in their life. And he just grew up doing that. That's what he wanted to do. And he wound up playing 2 years of high school ball here. He did fantastic. He pitched 2 games in one day, except 1 inning against Glasgow and Bowling Green in the final regional. Got beat 1 run, and that was a run that they got before Linuel went in. So, pretty good record. I hate to brag on him because he'll get the big head over this. I'll never get him to come down. Anyway, high school was great. Got a college scholarship. Murray State, they had good baseball back then. A lot of people would leaving Murray going into the majors. They put 2 and 3 getting straight into the majors every year. And he pitched 2 years. He was approached by a Boston Red Sox scout, and he decided to drop out of school for a semester. You had to be out of semester before you could sign. He was scheduled to go to spring training with the Boston Red Sox. 115th day, he had to be out 120 days. On the 115th day, got drafted to Vietnam. This was a pretty tough blow. Anyway, he goes to the service, comes back, coach gives him a scholarship back, plays 2 more years at Murray, and he played on the post team at Fort Knox. He also played some independent ball that summer, but life went on and he didn't ever pursue his baseball again. But he did become commissioner of baseball in Jefferson County for about 8 years. So I'm honored to present my brother Linuel.
That's a tough act to follow. All of you have heard the old cliche, the older I get, the better I was. I can believe that now. You know, I have so much to be thankful for. Thank the committee for your votes. Thank God for me to be able to throw a curveball. But you know, I thank God for growing up in Edmonson County. It's good to be home. Been gone 60 years. Good to be home, guys. Thank you all for being here. Thanks, my son, for being here. I'll get it together, I promise. But you know, I grew up in a home where there was a lot of love. There was 3 things that was paramount: faith, family, and friends, in that order. I remember when Steve Meredith and I was playing Legion ball in Bowling Green, and we played on Sunday. I didn't get to go to the game unless I went to church. And you know, sometimes the preachers, and I'm not knocking preachers at all, I love them. We need more of them. But you know, they get long-winded. And you know, they preach, and then they got to tell you again, just so you get it. Okay? I want to make sure you get it. But that's great, but I had a baseball game to get to. But it was wonderful growing up in the area I did. I had great role models, and one of them you just heard from. I had 2 older brothers, both of them passed away. Clement, my oldest brother, probably had the best knuckleball I've ever seen. And I was his catcher when I was 12 years old. Got beat up pretty bad. I don't know if you've ever tried to catch a knuckleball. I know Bob Euchre said the best way to catch a knuckleball, wait till it stops rolling and pick it up. So, and then Ken, my other brother that also went to Murray State and pitched here at Edmonson County. Ken had polio when he was around 14, a teenager. His left leg was an inch shorter than his right. And he was a right-hand pitcher, so his landing foot was his left foot. And oftentimes he would fall when he landed because his left leg was a lot weaker than his right. Always got up. See, I came from pretty good stock. You don't quit. When you're down, you get up. And then Gerald, golly, what can I say about Gerald? You guys all know him. He's been such a mentor to me and given me advice, and believe me, he will give you advice. But I listen to it because every now and then he has something good to say. But I need to say something about an individual award. In a team sport, an individual award is never about one person. You know, I had some fantastic teammates. Two of them, which made all regional team, Steve Meredith and Mike Ashley. And then there's so many other guys that I played with, just outstanding players. Benny Jaggers was on the team. He was a year ahead of us, but he played when I was a junior. So it's never about an individual when it comes to a team sport. And that's why I'm so honored to be recognized. But the big thing that just humbles me like nothing else, is I remember how many great athletes have come through this county. I remember back when, well, some of you are old enough to remember Kadon Van Meter and his little brother Jack. Kadon was a baseball coach, my baseball coach. But his little brother Jack was turning flips at shortstop before anybody ever heard of Ozzie Smith. That was the kind of athlete he was. And then, back then we had 3 high schools, Kyrock, Brownsville, and Sunfish. And I remember in the 6th grade, they had a survey. They wanted us to vote on the colors of the new school and the mascot. Of course, Ray Elmer and I, we had blue and white and Wildcats. Well, then when they actually announced the colors, the red was in there. And I figured, well, somebody from Brownsville put that in. I'm kidding. I love the red, white, and blue, the patriotic colors. I truly do. I love it. But in looking back, and at Kyrock, you had Johnny Pete Vincent. Brownsville, you had Charles Hayes. Sunfish, you had Pete Hayes. Pete Hayes went on to be an outstanding high school basketball official. In fact, worked several state tournaments, both at Freedom Hall and Rupp Arena. So, and I'm just touching the surface on outstanding athletes in this county. Keith Madison, what an ambassador for Edmonson County and Edmonson County High School. And Keith had signed to play at Murray with Coach Reagan before he signed pro when he left here. So Keith has had some strong ties with Murray as well. In fact, he and I text back and forth during the College World Series when Murray was there last year. Keith was there. In fact, he tried to get me to go with him because he said I got an extra ticket, but I couldn't pull it off. But anyway, Keith is just, he's top drawer. He truly is just a class, a great Christian man, and does this county admirably. Every place he goes. So that is why when I stop and think that I'm going to be mentioned in the same sentence with these people, just at all, I truly am. I don't feel worthy, but like I said, the older I get, the better I was. Thank you so much, and it is such an honor for me to receive this award. Thank you.
Next, we're going to ask Coach Shannon Weaver to come up and introduce Dion Houchins. Give it up for Weaver.
Thank you very much. My dad used to say, I almost got the first ever standing boo. I'm proud. It's great to be here. I'm really proud of Brian, Jonathan, the leadership of this school and county for doing these things to acknowledge our past. I think on top of, giving homage to great athletes and people like Mr. Meredith and the people here tonight. My teammate Todd Webb is in the hall. It shows these kids that you can walk these halls, you can go from here and do anything, athletically and otherwise. So thank you guys very much. You're doing a great job. Dion W. Houchins. That would confuse most people from Edmonson County because like Shaq, or Cher or Madonna, just Dion. It's a brand, you know. You don't have to say Dion W. Houchins. That makes people think there's two Dions. There's only one Dion. Dion came here in the fall of '79 as a freshman, and we graduated together, played basketball together, but Dion was exactly what a small town, small school, rural county athlete needs to be, a three-sport athlete, and he excelled at all three. Edmonson County was in an incredible run of athletes from the 60s up to the mid-80s, and Dion is a standout among standouts. I talked to Ed Rich, I talked to Coach Houchins, and I talked to Tim Basil, who was 2 years younger than us, about just Dion and their perspectives, and it won't surprise you that they had a lot of similarities, and I want to talk about them really quick before we get to the real point. We know that Dion is a fierce competitor. We know that he is an exemplary leader. Ed said he could leave practice, and Dion could run it, and they'd never miss a beat. I think if Johnny B were here, he would probably tell you maybe that happened a couple of times, which is the reason Ed Rich was so confident it could happen. Coach Houchins, Rick Houchins, just said he was tough. Dion was a very nice person. Sometimes the toughness follows somebody with an edge, and Dion didn't have to have an edge until he needed it, he had plenty. He was a great leader among the teams. I can attest as a teammate that he could lead us because he walked the walk. He did the work. He had the right attitude. If he was pushing us to do something, it was to make the team win. There was no selfishness whatsoever. And those are the common threads that everybody knows about him. He was, his leadership, I really believe that there's different types of leadership, and Dion's best quality as a leader is that he brings people together. He has a way of bringing out the best in everybody, and when you hear these accolades these teams had from his time, you can see that while he has the stats to be in this Hall of Fame, these teams are in this Hall of Fame. These teams did what they did because he was lifting everybody to be the best that they could be. Dion's competitiveness. I've known him a long time, and he will compete with you. But it's not just about trying to win or trying to beat the other guy. It's about doing his best. If it's worth his time, if it's worth his attention, he's going to do his best. Dion never played golf. He was playing baseball. He started as an adult playing golf. And you can see now, go out there with him, you're going to lose. He's going to shoot a score. It's going to be within about 2 strokes because he puts his time in and he does his best. But we were all fortunate to be around him. We were all fortunate to be on the team with him. But that's not how you really get in the Hall of Fame like this, because you can be misled by those qualities as a person that have served him his whole life. But his stats that I'm going to read you right now are incredible, what he did while he was here. As a football player, Dion had 58 receptions in a single season, 756 passing yards receiving in a single season, 125 career receptions, 1,481 career yards receiving, and 14 career touchdowns. Those were all school records when Dion left here. I don't know if our school records are great, but if they still are. But when he left here, those were all school records. Additionally, he was a captain on the 1982 team that won the district. He was all South Central Kentucky first team receiver in 1981 and 82. He was honorable mention All-State in 1982, and the Courier Journal honorable mention All-State in 81 and 82. On our basketball team, Dion was the captain. He was a member of the all-seasonal district team in 82 and 83, and I'm proud to say that all 5 of our starters were on the all-district team in 83. He led our team in 83 to a district championship and to a regional runner-up. We have challenged Kevin and the 76 team a couple of times, and we thought we wouldn't mind having a shot at them. Big Phil told Dion, yeah, y'all were pretty good. You almost made it to the state. And Chester just told Tim Basil and I recently, just go in the front door of the school and look to your left and your answer is right there. So we haven't brought that up again since. I didn't get to Coach Rick to ask him about that because he would have a similar answer, I'm sure. Dion, his baseball stats are unbelievable. He led the team in hitting in 1982 with a 471 average. Led the team in, second team in hitting in 83 with 426. He had a 364 batting average for his career. He was undefeated in his career pitching at 9-0. Rick, y'all should let him pitch more, I believe. Jason got all the starts, I think. In 83, he had a 1.4 GPA, and he was a member of the 3 district championship teams in 80, 82, and 83. Member of 2 regional championship teams in 82 and 83, and runner-up in 83. I just couldn't be more proud to call Dion Houchins my friend and my teammate.
Thanks, Shannon. Jonathan, thank you for starting the program. This is so much fun. I love these guys that are going in before me are my heroes. I love the recognition that they're getting. And thank you, Nikki, Kyle, and Jamie for this honor. And, congratulations to Alex, Jane, Linuel, Gary, and our regional baseball teams. All right. And I'm honored to be in this class. All I thought about as a kid growing up was playing ball. That's all I want to do is play ball. And I always had a nice basketball goal. And I was always pretending to either be Kyle Massey or Kevin Clemens. And I was going to make the last second shot. And Alex Jane, I don't know if you know, but your dad was a pretty good athlete. not a bad one. And also there, I grew up in Bee Spring, and we bought Ben L. Decker's house. He had a well house there, and I drew a strike zone on the side of the well house. And you'll appreciate this. And I was Don Sutton, and I'm throwing curveballs, striking out Hank Aaron and Pete Rose. That's what I was doing there in the backyard. Then when I played football, I pretended to be Fred Bolitnikov or Aaron Gold, catching TD passes. And I'm convinced if Aaron Gold had played 3 years of football with Ricky at quarterback, I wouldn't have any records. There'd be none in Dion's day. Aaron was that good. You have to have heroes, and those are a few of mine. In addition to those folks that I looked up to, I also had many influences and a lot of help growing up. And I'm going to recognize a few of them. I mentioned that I grew up in Bee Spring. I grew up next to Jimmy Decker's store. That's where I grew up. And lived there until I was 9 before we moved the job. So when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, Jimmy would pitch these little bitty golf ball sized wiffle balls to me. He was working on his arm just as much as he was working with me, but he always made time for me. And I didn't have a broomstick or little skinny wiffle ball bats. He would just throw them until I was tired of swinging. And you just don't forget that stuff. For all my fellow Bee Springers, Jimmy's also the same guy that told me that Noel Cobb was Ty Cobb's brother. I had this Hall of Fame book, and I'd bring it over there, and we just had a ball with it. But yeah, every time Noel Cobb would come in, he'd say, Dion, there's Ty Cobb's brother. I didn't learn any different for a while out there. I also remember all the time there that Greg and Glenn's dad put in with our Little League program, and Uncle Charles too. Uncle Charles was part of it. They made sure we had bats, balls, hats, whatever we needed, they made sure we had it. That's something I'll always remember. And while I was at Kyrock, Brian mentioned Stan Alexander. Stan was one of my guys. Stan was. And then Ed came. They taught me the fundamentals of the different sports. That's what I learned from Stan and Ed, just the fundamentals. Then when I got to high school, I had terrific coaches in high school. Very, very fortunate, very, very blessed there. Had Ed, had Gary Key, Ricky and Mike, Bo Davenport, Norm Weaver. I learned a lot from each of them, but Ed was my go-to guy. He just always was. As you can imagine, Ed taught me and my teammates a lot of life lessons. We learned a lot. But I joke, but I always knew Ed had my back, and regardless of what was going on, he had my back, and it's still that way today, guys. That's what I think of Ed Rich. He's my guy. But the real reason I'm standing here today is Linuel hinted at this, it's because of teammates. I went through school with arguably the best class athletes in the history of this high school. We were winners. I know that many of them are just as deserving as I am, and they'll be standing up here one day. But I'm going to give you a sense of the depth of our athletes in the class of 1983. We had 17 seniors in football. We had 6 seniors in basketball, and we had 9 seniors in baseball. You don't get that in a school of 520 kids. And our graduating class had 122, 23 kids. Most of them played ball. Then you throw in a few talented sophomores and juniors, and it's no wonder we won as many games as we did. And that class, my senior year, and Shannon hinted at this, we won a district championship in football, lost in the playoffs to eventual state runner-up Glasgow, and probably their best team. We won a district championship in basketball, then lost the regional finals to repeat champion Warren Central, and the game decided in the last 11 seconds. And now I'm going to quote Big Phil with exactly what he said. He said, you know, Dion almost made it to the state tournament. It's like, come on, Phil. I'm not the one who want to challenge your team. I never brought that up. So, and then in baseball, as Shannon alluded to, we won 3 district championships in 4 years. We won 2 regional championships in a row. And that's after losing in the finals my freshman and sophomore years, which was heartbreaking. And then we were eliminated our senior year, similar to you guys, by the eventual state champs, Owensboro, 7-6. In closing, I had a terrific all-around experience here at Edmonson County High School, but the friendships and memories I made playing ball is what I'll always remember. Thank you for this honor. I'll always cherish it.
And that might be the note from Ed, don't read it.
Shannon stole my paper. Next, as Mr. Alexander alluded to, Coach Meredith couldn't be here, but we decided for the video's sake, and he's very deserving of the honor, he had chosen my dad, Ed Williams, to introduce him, so at this time we'll ask him up to the podium.
Gary called me and asked me to do this, and Jonathan was at the house one day, and I said, Jonathan, how long do I have to talk? He said, 30 minutes. And I said, Jonathan, I talked 30 minutes, but there's one time in my life. He said, it's not 5 minutes. I said, okay, I can do that. So, I want to congratulate all of you that's being inducted tonight. It's a great honor. And it's a great thing, Jonathan, you and the other members of the committee, what you're doing for this school and the recognition of our athletes. Because like some of them have said, we have had some great athletes at this school. And we were part of that. Gary and I's team was part of that run you was talking about, Shannon. We were right in the middle of it. And this is a sad time for Gary. And well, I'm sure all of you know his wife passed away a couple of days ago, so I went to see Gary because that's what teammates do. And it's one thing I've learned through the years is once a teammate, always a teammate. You know, most of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Gary and I have been teammates for 52 years. So I went to see him to check on him the day that Ron passed away. And he was upset. He was very emotional. And he talked about Ron a lot. And he said, he's talking about they were high school sweethearts, and they were. And he said, Rhonda had me hooked from the very beginning, and it was always Rhonda. Trust me, it was always Rhonda. When we were in college together, we roomed together, he wasn't homesick for Big Spring, he's homesick for Rhonda. So, Rhonda had her hooked to him. And I'll tell you this to kind of demonstrate, I've often wondered if Rhonda didn't take a little pleasure in being able to affect Gary's games. So we were going to play a district game at Caneyville. And at that time, there was Caneyville High School, Litchfield High School, Butler County High School, and Clarkson High School, and that was the district. So we were going to go to Caneyville. And I don't know how many of you have played at Caneyville at the old gym, but their floor was great. It was bouncy. I think I jumped 3 inches higher than the I loved it. But Gary Key was the first option on our team. And y'all know about him. Led the state in scoring. Gary Meredith was the second option. And I was the third option. And anytime that either one of the Garys were missing shots, I knew I was going to score more because I was getting their rebound. And so we were, anyway, we were going to go to Caneyville, and I saw Rhonda and Gary. They were holding hands, walking through the hall, happy and all that. And then all of a sudden I noticed they were separate. Gary had this look on his face. Come to find out they were into it about something. And so we got on the bus to go to Caneyville, and Gary's got this look on his face. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be able to score more.
That's a great thing right there.
And so we started the game. Gary couldn't hit the side of the bar. And Rhonda was a cheerleader. She was there, and he was looking at her. That's what he had in mind. So anyway, long story short, I ended up with 24 points, 26 rebounds. True story. I talked to Gary, actually, Rhonda and I visited last week or a couple weeks ago. And as teammates do, you know, now we're older, so we talk about our doctor's appointments and our ailments and our health. But we always go back to those days that we were teammates. And like I said, Gary and I have known each other 52 years. And I moved here from East St. Louis, and Jerry Packard called him and said, my cousin's moving down. He doesn't know anybody. Call him. And Gary called him. And we went somewhere. I don't remember where it was. And we became friends right away because he was a talker and I was a listener. So we hit it off pretty good. But he worked on his game. And I worked on my game. And what he didn't know, when I was in East St. Louis, I was at the playground working on my game. And so when I moved here, Gary and I, then you couldn't get to the gym. Gyms were not open. So we either went to the Gold's outside of Cow Rock, or we went to, Gary had to go at his house in the backyard. And every now and then we'd drive to Bowling Green to try to find somebody to play. So we worked on our games together. We lifted weights, we ran, and rode bicycles, anything we could do to try to get better. So he was a great teammate, and I discovered then that he was also dedicated. And he told me the other day, he said, now I wasn't a pure shooter, but I was a good shooter. And he said, because I worked on it. And I know he did, because I watched him. And we were on great high school teams together. I'm going to say 2 of the greatest high school teams that's ever been in Edmonson County. Won a lot of games. And people ask me all the time, somebody said something tonight about it. You think you all were better than the state tournament team? Well, here's my answer to that. There's one team that ended their season with a victory, and that's the state tournament team. They're the best team. I don't care what you do, I don't care what the argument is, they're the best team. They were the state champions. So I wanted to honor them tonight. Gary and I became friends, went to college together, we're college roommates, and when you're roommates, you learn everything about one another. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything. And you rub off on one another. I grew a mustache, he grew a mustache. He was trying to look like Burt Reynolds, I was trying to look like Tom Selleck. See how it worked out. But we shared expenses. We went to the grocery, we split it down the middle. We buy this, we buy gas, whatever. We use the same same shampoo. And you see how that turned out too. You know Gary. Gary the player was dedicated. He was athletic. He was heady. He was a point guard. He was more of a point guard of the future than he was at that time, because if you remember, at that time there was a lot of major colleges that didn't let their point guards score. Their job was to distribute the basketball. But Gary, of course, did it all. And he was a great shooter. Gary shot logo shots before there were logos. And we didn't have the three-point line, thank goodness. Or in there would seem ball. But why is he being inducted in the Hall of Fame? Yes, great stats, great awards, all these things. And I'm sorry to hurt some of y'all's feelings if it does, you guards. And I know guards are kind of cocky sometimes, and Gary was. But why is he being inducted in the Hall of Fame? Here's my opinion. Because he's the greatest guard that ever played at Edmonson County High School. So this is a sad time for Gary, and I would ask that you remember him in your prayers. And it'll be a tough time for him. He wanted to be here, of course he couldn't be. He asked me to do this, and I am honored to be in front of you, the inductees, and the rest of you Hall of Fame. And I hope that this will continue, because I have grandchildren that play sports, and I hope down the line that this will continue, that they also, not just my grandchildren, but yours and whoever else comes. But there's great athletes here now, and I look forward to the future too. So it's an honor to stand here in front of you all. And let's remember Gary. Thank you.
Thank you. Just so everyone knows, we're going to bring Coach Meredith back when he's feeling up to it, maybe at a basketball game, and we'll honor him at halftime so he gets the recognition that he deserves. Now I want to ask Coach Shannon Wathen, the head coach at Cambridge University, to come up and introduce Miss Alice Jane Massey.
I'm still kind of hung up on the pitcher that threw 78 innings with a very low ERA. So I need one of those right now. So, but you know, congratulations to everybody that's being inducted tonight. I am honored to be here. Jamie, thank you for even sending me an email. I think Callie reached out to you. Jonathan, I texted you and harassed you a little bit as well. So, but Alex Jane asked me to introduce her tonight, and I am extremely honored to be here, and you know, to be able to introduce her, to celebrate the legacy that she has created here. You know, one thing I always think about with Alex Jane, and obviously kind of brings a smile to my face, is that Alex Jane is a winner, as her parents Kevin and Natalie instilled in her at a very young age. through their words of affirmation that carried over all the way into her college career and was written on a mirror that we used to joke about, but was very much who she is and what she was about. And, you know, I think that starts at home. The Clemens family has, you know, been close to us at Campbellsville University since Alex Shane was there, and has continued to be close and show up when they can to support us. And, you know, I'm just thankful for Alex Shane for sure, but her family and her parents for everything that they've done and meant to us as well. As I look back through a lot of the stats that Jamie sent me, and I know what a phenomenal player Alex Shane was at Campbellsville University. She was an integral part of Edmonson County Athletics from 2003 to 2007, lettering 5 years on the Lady Cats softball team and a 4-year letter winner as a member of the basketball team. In her junior year, she helped lead a very successful 2006 team to a 26-9 record and a 12th district championship. That year she was named 12th district all-seasonal team. She was second team all-state, which is truly an honor to be selected by the coaches of KHSAA. In 2007, her senior year, the team finished with a record of 21-8, and Alex Jane was again named to all-state honorable mention, and she was a Kentucky All-Star. She was also a Kentucky All-Star in her junior season as well. You know, I think Alex Jane's personal stats kind of speak for themselves. I know at Campbellsville, she still holds many records there. I didn't really want to get into all that tonight, but her personal records here, she's third all-time in career home runs, she's fourth in career hits, and she's sixth in career batting average. She played, I know when she played, we were just talking about that, she played with a lot of great players. I was just asking her, I couldn't remember who pitched when she played, so both of them ended up at WKU together. And then there was another young lady that played with her that was at Campbellsville for a few years, Erica Creek, that's still here in the Brownsville area. While also finishing top 10 in numerous seasonal stats and categories, she finished top 10 in home runs in a season multiple times. Numerous times she finished single season batting average in the top 10 and also single season RBIs. As a coach of the Lady Cats, she led up to 2 district championships, and the first one being in 2013, and I believe as an assistant with her dad Kevin, if I'm correct. And then as a head coach in 2024. So at Campbellsville University, she was a standout athlete for us. So after I convinced her to come to Campbellsville, she shut me down the first time. But I think after being away from it for at least a month in that summer, Erica reached out to me and said, I think Alex Shane's ready to talk to you now. So we spoke. I think she came on a visit and committed within the next couple of days of that visit, if not on the visit. You know, Alex Shane, the one thing I remember about her, she just always had a never say die attitude. And she was named first team Mid-South Conference in all 3 seasons of the Lady Tiger in 09, 10, and 11. So all 3 seasons that she was there. Alex Jane also holds the title of being the program's first ever and my first ever NAIA All-American. She helped her team win a Mid-South Conference regular season championship in 09. She completed her time at CU in 3 years with 112 wins. More importantly, she is and has always been a wonderful teammate. And I think that's one of the most outstanding things about her. She's not only a wonderful teammate, a leader, a daughter, a sister to Casey and Hannah Ruth, mother to Lila Jane, Tilly Joe, and Lottie Jane, wife to TJ, aunt, teacher, coach, and more importantly now, one of my friends. I'm going to get emotional. I think the older I get, the more emotional I get. She inspired me as a player for myself at Campbellsville University, who never took shortcuts, battled through adversity, and showed up for her people without fail every day. I know when we walked up, Callie Webb, who's here with me, so I have 3 players that play for me now at Campbellsville, and one of them, it might have been Julie, one of them said, Coach Massey has a knee brace on. I said, a single knee brace. I said, I'm pretty sure when she finished at Campbellsville University, we had 2 knee braces and held up by tape every single day. But it was just the type of player that Alex Shane was and her commitment to her team. This fire and passion, I am told, continued into her coaching career when she ran with a player rounding third and scored by sliding with the player at home plate to win a big game, maybe against Grayson County, do you remember? Yeah. Or onto the golf course where she cheered on a few other Lady Cats, where at the time maybe was a little overzealous spectator and hadn't perfected her golf clap just yet. So that was a good story. And then on the way here, the three players shared with me a time that they did not play so well at Allen County Scottsville, maybe had to practice on their football field. She does not get any of that from me, I can guarantee you that. But her success is not only limited to the playing field as an athlete at Edmonson County High School, she has inspired and empowered generations of young people through her dedication, passion, and love for her hometown in the classroom and the community as well. One of the things we try and instill in our athletes at Campbell's University and live by is leaving something better than we found it. And Alex Jane, you've most certainly done that. On every step of your journey. Admiring you from a distance and watching former players flourish is one of my greatest joys in life. And doing that for Alex Jane has truly been an honor. So I please ask you to join me in welcoming the entire class of 2025 Hall of Famers, but for me specifically, Alex Jane Clemens Massey.
Thanks, Coach. Well, it's an honor, of course, to be here. And first of all, I'm going to thank quite a few people, but I want to make sure to thank the committee for doing this and just believing that I deserve a spot. To hang on the walls of Edmonson County High School. To even be considered alongside with the athletes and the coaches and the people who are already up there and then everybody sitting in this room is kind of a surreal thing for me. I remember walking down the hall where all the pictures are hung and just looking up at the plaques. You know, Dad's up there, my grandfather's up there, and so many other great athletes are here. And I remember thinking about the dedication and the sacrifice that it has to take for someone to be able to hang on that wall. And you know, I think as you walk down that hallway, you think, oh, maybe, you know, one day, just maybe, and maybe I could be up there too. So it's really just a turning point to be sitting here. So I got to thank Coach for not only making the trip tonight, but taking a chance on me. All those years ago, Campbellsville very quickly became a second home to me. And a lot of that was because of her. She made me feel more than welcome, and I remember the very first seasonal fall ball game we had. We were in a van, and I was in the middle right behind her in the front seat, and I came from Western, so like we could never have our phones or talk to our parents or like anything like that, but Mom and Dad couldn't find the field, and I remember asking Coach, like, hey, do you know like how I can tell her? And she's like, oh, just let me talk to her. And like, I gave the phone to Mom. I think it kind of shocked Mom that she's actually getting to talk to Coach like on the van. But that's just kind of the program that she has. And you know, she didn't only teach me how to play softball at a different level, but she also taught me like how to love the game at a different level, how to compete at a different level, and how to take those lessons and bring them off the field and into real life and to succeed on a different level. She loved me through a lot of different things, which is probably, I would say, one of her biggest accomplishments. So thank you for being here. I'd like to thank my hometown community. Edmonson County's been with me every step of the way, and it didn't ever matter what jersey I wore. I am and still am and always will be proud to be from Edmonson County. My siblings, they've been dragged around, endless games, tournaments, always in the stands, you know, snacking on whatever was in the concession stand, which was a favorite snack, I'm sure, of theirs, or whatever Mom had that you remember to bring them from home. But I know there are days that they probably dreaded on being there, but to be able to say that I could always look up in the stands as a player and even as a coach, and then being there and now adding nieces and nephews that came a lot and supported coaching, you know, it means the world to have a family like that. To my parents, I really don't even know where to start with this, so thank you for starting me early, for the miles, the lessons that felt endless, the money that was spent, and yes, multiple surgeries and recoveries. They've been there with me, of course, through it all. Dad, you pushed me harder than anyone else. Even when I was convinced that I was done, didn't want to do anything else, he found always a way to squeeze one more swing, one more catch, or one more sprint at full speed out of me. He made sure I knew that there was never a halfway or 50% given in any kind of sport or anything in life. Mom, thanks for being the encourager, the listener, and the biggest bringer of snacks, and the one who's loved me through every high and low, for always keeping our house open, no matter the day, making sure food was on the table, and making sure there was always room for my teammates to pile in. I always think half the team lived with us most weekends, both in high school and in college, because they knew they'd be fed well, but they knew that they would be loved even better. TJ, you've been my side through most of these stages. From high school to now, you know, you've been there for strikeouts, wins, injuries, surgeries, comebacks. And now we're getting to coach and parent life as our girls, I hope, are starting to travel down the same road that I traveled. Softball's always been an outlet for me, a safe space. When life felt heavy, I knew I could walk onto the field, step between the chalk lines, and just breathe a little bit easier. And honestly, sometimes I even felt God talk to me a little bit louder in between those lines. The field's always given me peace, joy, and purpose, and now as a mom of 3 girls, I hope that they can find something in their life that has done the same for them. I also hope now, as they and then many athletes and students that walk down the same hall that I walk down, and can look up at the wall and see all of us, the ones that are hanging there and the ones that hang in the future, and notice and hope that maybe dreams can come true with a lot of hard work, sacrifice, and a whole lot of love and support from the people and the community around you. So I'm very thankful for everyone who's played a role in getting me here. I'm thankful for the committee and for all those that's keeping Edmonson County history and pride alive and strong, because that's the most important thing. I'm beyond proud to just be a small part of this story with everyone else in the 2025 class. So thank you very much.
I don't know who wants to go first, but at this time, we're going to ask either Coach Houchins or Dion to come up and talk about the 82 and 83 regional championship team.
We score goal here. That'd be funny.
Yes. I'll take this.
Make it quick, you all, because I know the football game's fixing to go. You said something about Dion that Stan said, you know, follow him, you know, he'd do everything right. He didn't seem like we did sometimes. So. He never got caught, that was the thing. So that was key. Anyway, this group of guys, I was fortunate right out of college. Scott's brother Gary took a job in UK as a grad assistant with Keith. So David Webb calls me, and well, you want to coach? I said, what? He goes, well, you've got an opening. I said, what sport? He goes, football, basketball, and baseball. Really? I said, well, he goes, well, you played all of them too, besides that in golf. I said, okay, Mr. Webb. What am I going to teach? He goes, well, I'll work you out a schedule somehow. So anyway, we're hearing all this back and forth about the teams. I was playing, And then I was part of coaching this bunch and all you guys, so it's a good conversation. Two things I'll say real quick about the baseball team. We're playing Henderson County state tournament the first year, their junior year. I'm coaching first base. And somebody's on first. One of their coaches said, "Hey, be ready for the bunt." And their head coach looked over and says, "These guys don't bunt." And I don't think we practiced bunting the whole year. They hit, and they hit. And when you hit over 300 and some as a team, 348 is a team average. They're up there to swing, and that's what they did. And Linuel, you all got to play a lot of games. We had rain for 2 years. One year we're 17-4, and then 16-5. We just always would get rained out, just couldn't play. Next year, Roland Simmons is not with us. He hits a line drive down first base. I thought I was quick like a cat. I got everything moved but my ankle. And it dropped me to the ground, and I thought I was a rear admiral. I was throwing some words out there they hadn't been. And Mike comes over and says, "You got to quit cussing." I said, "I will when it quits hurting." But anyway, great group of guys. Good to see all of you here, and very fortunate to be able to coach you guys in 2 or 3 sports.
Look around at these guys that I had. It's been a long time ago, 42, 43 years ago. And I think they kind of do look older. And then I get thinking about me, and I think, Mike, you're forgetting about yourself, son. You're getting up there too. So it's been a long time. It's been a long time. The things I remember real quick about the group that I had, and I started out in 80 with Gary Key. I worked under Gary Key 2 years, 80 and 81. Gary was great. I learned some things from Gary. Gary was a good coach, smart, knew what to do. Of course, he went down to Texas and won, was it 2 states? 2. And I think he said he coached 4 or 5 that went on to the major league. So Gary was great to work under. And then I had Rick with me for the 2 years that I had it, and he threw so much that his arm was sore 7 days a week because we took a lot of batting practice. He would be on the field throwing. I'd be in the cage with him. We had a first year bat cage, and we were hitting all the time. Dion, we hit a lot, and I think it probably paid off for us, and it helped. And after I left and went to Grayson County, the last 4 years in the late 90s, Don Lee was in his last 4 years up there coaching, and he asked me, Jim Alvey had gotten out of it, and he asked me his last 4 years, he said, "You want to help me?" And I said, "Sure." And Don was a great guy, could be. He's not with us anymore, passed away, but he came up one time about our teams that we had there in 82 and 3, and he said, "I'll say one thing, y'all could hit it." And I said, "Well, I appreciate it, Coach." And he was always complimentary of us with that. And in 2 years, they never beat us.
7 straight.
7 or 8?
7, I think 7.
Yeah, regular season, district finals, and regional finals, they never beat us. And he did bring that up with me. He said, "I appreciate you not bringing that up, Mike." I said, I won't do that. I won't do that. But worked around with some really good guys. Had a good time with it. I'm lucky as lucky can be that I was in the right place at the right time. I know that as well as anybody anywhere. But I'm glad I was lucky because we had a good time with it. Had a great bunch of guys. The best thing about them, they were good athletes, but they did not like to get beat. They would go, and go to the last out. Go hard. And there was a number of games we came from behind and won, and then I can remember, I know that Bowling Green, they had us down a little bit. They had a good team, and we came back, and I think we ended up losing by 1 run. But that's kind of players that were great. great bunch to work with, good memories. I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. Still think about it quite a bit. So, again, I was pretty lucky, but I'll take it. I'll take a little luck, nothing wrong with it. So I'll turn it over to you.
I'm proud, very proud to be speaking on behalf of my teammates. I reached out to them, we got a text group, and had them shoot me some memories offline. I didn't want anybody to know what I was going to talk about tonight. And the best part about it was, almost to a T, everything that someone sent me was about somebody else. Somebody's accomplishment or something they had done. And I love that. I absolutely love that. First off, as a group, the guys want to thank you guys. They appreciate your leadership, appreciate all the hours you put in. All those rainouts did contribute to Rick's sore arm. If it rained us out, we were in the cage. I mean, we were in the cage and he was throwing. So we won 2 regional championships. If you've heard about 14 times tonight, on 2 years they were together. 2 years they were together, we won regional championships. So that's a period. You can put a period after that. All right, I'm going to go through the memories here, and I'll get through them pretty quickly, guys. First memory, Mike brought it up, but more than one person talked about beating Grayson County 7 times. Beating them finals of district, finals of region, and being Wildcats, that has to be number one. That's just always going to be number one. Another thing brought up was the satisfaction of finally winning in '82, winning the region in '82 after losing in the finals in '80 and '81. And we had a heck of a team my freshman year in 1980. Mike had a heck of a team. It did rain every other day in 1982 and '83. It's the first time I'd ever heard the word El Nino. And I didn't know what it was. It just didn't rain, I think. That's what it meant. And then this statement's mine. I own this one. I feel like I played with the best catcher. You're talking about Gary, I'm going to talk about Sonny. I think Sonny Browning was the best catcher in the history of Edmonson County High School. And I probably played with the best defensive center fielder ever at Barry Benson. I'm convinced of that too. Any of y'all ever saw him play, you feel the same way. Sonny and Barry were also both terrific 3-sport athletes. Terrific athletes. Chris Raymer in 1982 had 7 of our 17 wins. Chris was a horse on the mound. He ate up a bunch of innings and he took all the tough assignments. Jason would sub in for him on some of the harder ones, but Chris took most of the tough ones. Then another memory was Craig Browning's bases loaded triple in the 1982 regional semifinals. We needed that. It jump-started this. We went on to win the game 8-4. But what's ironic is Craig had just been inserted in the starting lineup when Roland got hurt. Roland was our starting right fielder, got hurt in the district finals. So Craig's plugged in the district finals, headed into the regionals, and he also had a big hit in the district finals that year. So that was against Grayson County. I'll mention that another time. Shane turning the back end of a double play late in the '83 regional finals is something that was mentioned. And I'm pretty sure that's probably the only 5-4-3 double play we turned in 2 years, Shane. I guarantee you. But it was at the right time. Greg Meredith had 5 home runs and 32 RBIs, guys, in 21 games. If you want to project that over, what y'all play, 38 games, David? Project that, those numbers. 32 RBIs in 21 games isn't bad. It also brought up was, you remember we went to WKU and played Glasgow in between the district and region. And, Greg hit a ball, I think center field was like 405, and he hit a ball just right off the almost top of the fence there. So somebody remembered that. I thought that was pretty cool. So another memory was Greg's brother Glendale catching the last out in the '82 final. Glendale was a senior that year. He kept the ball, nobody knew he had it. I guess Greg knew he had it, but none of the rest of us knew he had it. And we have a reunion, what, 8 or 9 years ago, and he hands it to Mike. Gives it to Mike. Nobody knew he had that ball. So I wonder what that is. Then Jason Van Leader and Tim Basil stepped in as freshman starters on the 2 team, and there's no way we would have won without them. There's just no way we would have won without them. Tim played a terrific shortstop while Jason pitched and played first base. And then in 1983, Jason led us in hitting with a 4.42 average and an ERA of 1.05. Jason, I thought that was really good until I saw Linuel's numbers. I almost didn't bring it up. Brought it up anyway. Another bright spot in 1983 was Alan Vincent stepping into the leadoff role as a first-year starter, hitting .353 while leading us in stolen bases. So that was brought up. And then this is one of my memories, Scott. Me and Scott Key talked to Charlie Lau theory of hitting. Does that sound like us?
Yeah.
That lasted about 2 minutes. But it must have worked because Scott hit .364 in 1983. However, I went all through the stats, Scott. I mean, I climbed all of them, had them digging, doing research here at the school. We never did find a stolen base. No triples, no stolen bases. Hey,
I've gotten faster now. Get better as you go.
I think he did get one, but he gave it back.
He might have stolen a base. There were also a ton of off-the-field memories that's not suitable for this audience. We had a fun group. And lastly, we're just all so proud to be the only two teams that ever win regional championships. Now, I hope they win all kinds of them after this, but we're proud to be the only two in 65 years. So, thank you, and we're all very appreciative of this honor.
Thank you to everybody that's contributed anything to this night. It's been a special night already. All the speakers, everybody in attendance, everyone that did anything to make any of it possible. We thank you. I do want to say how wonderful the committee works together. It is a great experience to have those nominations, consider those conversations, and we really appreciate the ones that are working on that. So tonight, just for the inductees, a few minutes before halftime, if you're facing our field, from our stands, we'll meet over there on the left side. I'll have them announce that, and we'll get everybody lined up. And as they start talking about you, just walk out to the middle, and we'll do the recognition. Hope everyone will stay for the game. Thank you again for a wonderful night. Congratulations to all the inductees. Thank you.
Wow, where is that?
Like everybody's about finished eating. Again, just kept this a small private reception, and then as I said a little bit earlier, we're going to get plenty of eyes on Coach here in just a little while. So I asked a few people to say a few things about Mr. Meredith, and so at this time I want to ask our superintendent, Mr. Alexander, to come up and say a few words.
I feel like I'm qualified to do this. I met Coach when I was in the 6th grade. He was teaching right across the hall from my classroom, and got to know him a little bit then. And then in the 7th and the 8th grade, I had him in class 2 periods a day, both years. And I just joked with him. I asked him if he'd eat pizza. He said he'd had 1 piece since he got back. I asked him if he ate sausage and green pepper and onions, because I still remember that was his favorite pizza. I remember that from 7th and 8th grade. So, you know, I got to learn a little bit about Coach's passion for basketball, and I was already a junkie before I ever met him. So we kind of had that in common. And then the summer between my 8th grade and freshman year, Coach Weaver left, and Coach came in and he was the head coach. And he gave me the opportunity to be a part of the varsity team that year. I was the only freshman in the gym, and I've never told him this. At the end of the season, he sent me to Cairo to practice with the rest of the freshmen because I was going to get to play in a freshman district tournament with them. I hadn't played since the first couple of games. We had very structured practices at the high school here. I mean, we got down to business, and I went to Cairo, and it was about 15 minutes before Phil got there, and it was anarchy. And I thought, I just kind of backed up in the corner, and I thought, Coach is going to come through that door here in a minute. This is a trick. This is a test. He's going to get me here in a minute. But that year, you know, this man, he exposed us to the best. We played the best. I feel pretty confident. I played on one of the only teams that ever played 3 state tournament champions in one season. We played the defending state champions. Logan County had won it the year before. We played Hoptown in their tournament. Hopkinsville High School, they won it that year. And then at Rough River that year, we had played Pulaski County. Reggie Hansen that played at UK, his brother that was a great player. We played them the year before they won the state tournament. And then the summer before my junior year, we played Clay County that summer in AAU basketball in Frankfort. And the only team that I didn't play against in my 4 years that won the state tournament was Ballard my senior year, and I want to appreciate it. I want to thank you for not exposing me to Allen Houston, because Richie Farmer was bad enough. But, you know, some of the things that Coach talked to us about, I looked it up today when Jonathan asked me. Kind of had, it wasn't a motto, it was more of a credo. He told us to believe in yourself and trust in God and dare to dream. And I look back at the guys that I played with, and you know, from my freshman year through my senior year, and I look at the success that a lot of these guys have had. You know, I've played with guys that have successful businesses that run insurance agencies. I played basketball with a guy that's got a statue at Western. He didn't know a thing in the world about volleyball when he left Edmonson County High School. Barely knew what one looked like. The only thing he knew about a volleyball is that we played dodgeball with it when we were in middle school. When I graduated from college, I ran a construction company in Bowling Green for 3 years and never run a backhoe, never shot elevations, never done any of that. But the thing that all of us have in common in all that is this guy right here, because we were not scared of anything. We had played the best, and that bled over into our lives. We weren't scared of anything. We weren't scared to take things on. He taught us things. You know, I had surgery one time and showed up 4 days after surgery for work, because when I was in high school, we had to be on time the day of and the day after a game. There was no excuses. Coach used to tell us there were reasons for things happening, but we don't make excuses. And, you know, I had those experiences as a player, and then I was teaching here when Coach came back and became principal and basketball coach. And Coach, I think I'm the only guy that was with you both times. And, you know, he again gave me an opportunity. I don't know when I'd ever got started in administration, if he hadn't gave me that chance. He put me in charge of, I was halftime athletic director, and I was in charge of all the discipline and all the attendance. I wanted to do a good job, because I wanted him to know that he'd made a good choice. But I also wanted to take everything I could off him. I wanted him to enjoy the time that he and Brett had together in playing. I wanted to do everything that I could so he could concentrate on that, and I hope I did that for him. But, you know, there's nobody that's put more time in this building and down through the years. You know, the things that, the little things that I remember. He used to have typed scouting reports in 1985. Wynn remembers that. On a typewriter. I mean, there's no backing up and changing the letters without, and I mean, I couldn't find whiteout on him. He didn't make mistakes on this. I don't know how good of a typist you were, Coach, but for us to have typed scouting reports in 1984 and 1985, you know, I look back on those things and that was impressive. We had player handbooks. They were all typed. I mean, the attention to detail that I learned from him, I've learned so many things down through the years from Gary Meredith. And it's very hard for me to call him Gary Meredith because he's coach. I've never called him Gary one time in my life, and I never will, because he deserves that kind of respect from me. So tonight when you walk out there, this is your night. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Chuck. Ask Mr. Carnes to come up. Then Brett, after him.
Gary, congratulations. It's great to see one of my best friends going to the Hall. I'm really happy we're able to do this for you, and I'm thankful that you're here with us and your family's here with us. Porter and Donna sent me a message and asked me to read it because they couldn't be here tonight. Really wanted to, but this is what they sent. Gary, we are so sorry that we cannot be there to celebrate with you tonight, but we are doing what you do best, supporting our grandchildren. We know this past year has been the most difficult of your life. Rhonda was the best sister we could have hoped for, and we know that she was the love of your life. Tonight's celebration feels incomplete without her by your side. But we can so clearly imagine her there, tearfully smiling as you reflect not just on your accomplishments, but on the life you built together in Edmonson County. A high school cheerleader who fell in love with the athlete would be bursting with pride to see you tonight. We can also picture your dad right there beside you, arms crossed, ready to defend his son, just as he did on the court so many times before. Your leadership offered a better school to hundreds of students and teachers and guided many basketball teams to victory. Rhonda would have been so proud of all of this, but of course, her greatest pride was always the family you built together. Seeing Brett and now Blake grow into men of faith and stature is your most profound legacy. So Gary, even though we're not with you tonight, we celebrate your induction into the Edmonson County Athletics Hall of Fame. We know Rhonda would have called us beaming with excitement, and we hope you feel her love still surrounding you tonight. With all our love, Porter, Donna, and family. Now I ask Mr. Red Meredith to come up.
At least I don't have to say anything sad now. Got that out of the way. First of all, I want to thank everybody that was here. Jonathan, I want to thank you very much. Coach A, I want to thank you, Jamie, Kyle. See Kyle in here, but I want to thank you all for this night, for making it so special for him. Obviously, I wish we could have been here in September. Wish that didn't have to happen, but we appreciate what you've done right now for us. I know, Ed, when you talked a couple months ago, I know it was from the teammate side and the player side. I'm going to talk about him from the coach side for a second. John, you played for him a little bit too, so I think if I'm lying, you can correct me here. Coach A, you played for him. You called me out too, but I never had anybody, high school, collegiate level, anywhere else, that was as hard on me as you were. I remember Cumberland County, my junior year, homecoming, halftime, we're playing terrible, and halftime is 15 minutes long. 12 of it was spent in my face, telling me what I was doing wrong and what I needed to correct. Not just in the game, but in life in general. Todd Webb got about 2 minutes of it, and we got out just in time for the halftime horn. I'll never forget the Grayson County, or the Warren East game. I had 44 on a Friday night. We turned and went to Grayson the next Tuesday. I had 4. And I heard all about that one, all of halftime as well. The kicker is, no matter how good things were, the nights we won a few games every once in a while, or the nights that I had a ton of points, or we played well, or whatever happened, or the nights that we were really, really bad, which were a lot of them. You were my toughest critic. Thank you. Because nobody ever made me believe in myself more than you did. When I went to college, that changed. But here, whether it was Warren Central, whether it was Bowling Green, whether it was Stockton, whoever it was, I knew I was the best player on the floor, no matter what. And it's because of you. Then later in life, when you walk through hell a time or two, quite literally and figuratively, I have a wonderful wife. But you were my rock. You were my best friend, and you got me through during those times. Had I not played for you, I wouldn't have made it through situations in life. You've been through a lot. You put me through a lot. You're a little stubborn. You're a little hard-headed. And those of us that played for you do it. But I appreciate everything you did for me. If anybody that's come through this school system, that's come through this community deserves this, it's you. You're ingrained in the basketball program is ingrained in you as a player, as a coach, and as what you produced. I appreciate everything you did for me. You deserve this. 3 years ago, you deserved this. The only thing I'm going to argue with is you said you thought he was the best guard to ever come through. Now, those last couple years, you spent time watching Jonathan. I don't know if you saw every game or not, but I'll let you have your opinion. Okay? But I appreciate you. I love you. I want to welcome you to the Hall of Fame.
Ready? I think Brad's already welcomed you, so I'll just escort you if I need to.
Appreciate that.
Good.
This will be emotional. I'm going to tell you right now. And I can't help it. When I started getting really, I knew I had cirrhosis about 11, 12 years ago. When I first started getting sick, I was working at Louisville about 2.5 years ago. And at the time, a doctor up there told me that they gave me a percentage on I had to live for 3 months. I started becoming very emotional. And I never get to see my family again and all these things. And then, of course, losing Rhonda 3 months ago. I've gone through 2 major life-changing events in 2 months. One, I lost love of my life. And the second one, somebody died, and I got to get their delivered so I can live. It changed you. It changed your whole outlook on everything. Now when I go down the road, I don't look at things. I see them. It's, everything you do changes. So I will be emotional now. I apologize for that up front. I'm sorry you're going to hear it anyway. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate you going to the extra effort to do this for me. I didn't expect that. 30 years ago, yeah, man, I'd been all over that. But not now, but I do appreciate what you've done, the extra that you put in. Several people I want to thank, and I normally don't write things down, but I did this, and I don't want to miss anybody. I'm sure I'll miss some people, but the Hall of Fame community, I appreciate you guys. Let me in. Brian, buddy, you've always had my back, and I appreciate that. Brian didn't tell you every story. I don't know if he remembers this or not, but he probably will. When he was in my class in the 8th grade, Brian was a perfect student. Brian was, he was a perfect student, everything. Good grades, good discipline, everything. We had some kids start to act up a little bit. I called Brian out, back when you could just pull a kid out in the hallway and paddle him. Remember this, Brian? I pulled Brian out in the hallway, and I said, Brian, if you go back in there and say a word about this to anybody, I will do it for real then. I held my shoe up, I hit it 3 times real hard, opened the door, said, get back in there and sit down. Those kids were quiet as a mouse. So, Brian's always had my back, helped me there, so I appreciate it.
They don't know it to this day.
Jamie, man, you always had my back too. When I first came here as principal, they were my 2 assistant principals, and things were really good. Y'all did a great job, and I appreciate it. You've always been friends to me. John, I appreciate you guys. From day one, by the way, happy anniversary on the 7th. For 46 years. Very hard to wait. I started calling him, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I called him one day and I said, happy anniversary. This was years ago. He said, oh, I'm glad you called. So I appreciate, Jonathan, everything you've done and the success you've had and with this community. You're doing a great job. Ed, I can't say nothing about you, buddy. Ed talked about teammates the other night. Ed wasn't just a teammate, Ed was my brother. He really was. We were together every day. After we graduated, we played college ball together, 2 different colleges, room together. There's actually people here, when we were in high school, called us peanut butter and jelly, so we just went together all the time. We never could agree on who was the peanut butter, who was the jelly, though. I thought I was sweeter, he thought he was sweeter, so we both wanted to be jelly, I think. But anyway, I love the story he told the other night. I told somebody earlier today. I remember having a bad game in Candyville. I didn't remember me and Ron being into it, but we stayed into it all the time anyway, so that was just another night for us, probably. Family, Dave and Sheila, I appreciate y'all. You've always been supportive, I appreciate it. Brett, man, I love you. You've done a great job. Very proud of what you've accomplished. Heather, thanks for joining my family. I warned you about it. I told you you were thinking about it twice before you married him, but you did. And I can't say enough about Blake, Bubba. He's my rock. I started watching him when he was born, watched him until he went to kindergarten, and I went back out and went to the U of L and started working again. So we got really tight, didn't we, buddy? I appreciate you. I thought there's some more going to be here, but not made it yet. Most of all, I want to thank God. You guys put me in a position to be fairly successful, I guess. But just the experiences that He's given me along the way, man, it's really, and like Brian said, and I'll tell you where that saying came from. When I first started teaching, Ron bought me a small black. He couldn't afford a large one, so she bought me a small one. And he said, it's from Robert Schuller. I had no idea who Robert Schuller was. Later I looked it up and found it. And it said, trust in God, believe in yourself, dare to dream. 9 of the most important words I've ever heard in my life. And I tried to use that along my career. And I kept it in my office all the time. When I first found out that I was going to be inducted, because that was we joked about it earlier, that was a kind of 3-year. January called me and said, you need it? No, I don't want it. I had my personal reasons. But anyway, I'm glad that y'all went out and finally, I think Brian told him, he said, he don't make decisions here anymore, I do. So, thank you, Brian, for doing that. There's the others come in. Kim, Jackie, Ed, and Chad. I'm not sure exactly, and I always embarrass Kim in school. I'm ready to tell the first thing you're going to hear, you walk in, Kim. See, Jackie is my dad's niece. Ed is my mother's brother. So I went to bed one night, Jackie was my cousin. I woke up, she was my aunt. And you know the confusion to a little boy. So when Kim was in school, I tell people, I don't know if she's my first cousin or second cousin. And that always embarrassed her, I think, but she had to live with it, so that's all right. But when I started to say, when I first heard that I was going in, I started reminiscing, going back through my career. And I told Rhonda, I really don't deserve it. She said, yes, you do. She said, you're forgetting I was there every game. I saw you every game. I know you deserve it. And I started thinking about, and the first thing that popped in my mind was an old quote from Sir Isaac Newton, 350 years ago. By the way, it's 300 years before they won the state tournament here. But anyway, he said, if I have seen Father, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. And I think back about my career, if I've been successful at all, it's because of the giants that I played for and giants I played with. In coaching, it's the giants that played for me. I had very little to do with it. We had some great high school teams. We also played on some very bad high school teams. But I'm proud of that because I was a player turning this program around as a player. And I'm so proud of being able to do that, and I'll never forget. Gary Key lived just outside of town, outside of your daughter's shop at a physical therapy place. And we were walking home, walking with him to his house one day after school. This was during our sophomore year, I guess. We won 3 games our freshman year, 7 our sophomore year. And beside of Lon Hogan's Shell gas station, it used to be there, we stopped, started talking. We said, it stops now. We're not going to be defined, our life's not going to be defined by our record the last 2 years. We can either draw a line in the sand or we can accept the defeated attitude. And we said, let's make everybody forget about the people who played before us. Let's go ahead. And we did. We started working right then. And Ed moves in. Bill Cassidy decides to play again. And we were very successful next year. 22 wins the next year and 24 the next year. We were very successful. I'm proud of being able to turn that program around and to see it grow into what it grew into after that. Played for some great coaches. I appreciate Pete. I know he's not doing well right now. I talked to Kevin the other day. I know he's not doing well, and I'm sorry for that. Pete gave me a lot of opportunities in life. He let me play varsity for the first time. He started me for the first time. He got me in administration. I'll never forget. But it's something special when you're playing JV and varsity, and then all of a sudden you get that call at night and said, you're not dressing JV tonight, you're just dressing varsity. Man, that makes you feel real great about yourself. Mine came at Gamelia my freshman year. We'd won maybe 2 games up to that point. We're playing at Gamelia. I'm in the game, late in the game. We're up by 1 or 2, something like that. And they've got the ball, time's running out. They throw it to mid-court. The guy starts to launch one up, and I take off running. Throw my hands up, almost right in front of our bench. Pete jumps up and hollers, get back, get back. And I threw my brakes on my feet left arm, and I fall flat on my back. The guy throws the ball and lands on top of me. They call a foul on me. Well, I've heard all the horror stories about playing for Pete, about how rough he was and all that stuff. And because I saw a normal coach, you know, in the locker room, I saw a normal coach, but I was still scared of him. And so I'm laying on the floor, horn goes off, the guy's going to the free throw line, timeout call, everybody goes to the bench before the guy shoots the free throw. I'm laying on the floor, I'm not getting up. Teammates come over and say, come on, Gary, let's go. Nope, I'm not going to that huddle. Come on, let's go. Nope, I know what that man's going to do to me. I'm not going over there. I refuse to go to that huddle. So finally get me over there, and Pete says, they said you fouled him after you was on the floor. Did you? I didn't think so. He said, I didn't either. Just a big relief came in. And I told him about it after I was assistant principal here, and now every time I saw him out after that, he would tell that to the group we were in. But, and then also, another fond memory of Pete, I was coaching, got out of coaching, just teaching. I was happy, doing what I was doing. Like a lot of teachers, I took on a summer job, so we go on vacation. So I'm mowing the cemetery out here at the top of the hill, the cemetery, going out of town. And Pete pulls up. He said, they've offered me the principal job at the high school. I want you to go with me as assistant. Nope. I'm happy what I'm doing, Pete. I'm not going to administration. He said, yeah, I want you to go. I said, nope, I'm not going, Pete. He said, I'm not going if you don't go. I said, well, you ain't going then, and I'm not going. I don't want to be administrator. He said, David Webb, the superintendent, said, Mr. Webb's in the office, we're expecting you to come, and to get over and talk to him. I said, Pete, I've got the grass all over me. You don't go in for an interview that way. Besides, I don't want to be an administrator anyway. He said, get over and talk to him. So I walked in, swearing and declaring I was not going to be an administrator. 30 minutes later, I walked out and been an administrator for 26 years after that. So Pete got me my first varsity start and also my first job as administrator. Coach Denton was phenomenal. I probably would have never went to college had it not been for Coach Denton. The first time that I saw him, Gary Key and I was standing there, and he walked up and he said, where y'all want to go to college? I'm like, man, this guy for real, me go to college? My family don't even go to high school. You know, education's not important in my family. My parents didn't attend, my dad dropped out after 6th grade. And, you know, education's not that important. And then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, I started getting recruiting letters. John Wooden, UCLA, Bobby Knight, Indiana, Jim Bavano. This guy's for real. He's got a network. He knows people. And so, had it not been for him, I probably never went to college. And thank goodness he got me a college scholarship at a D1 school. I think the only one that's ever signed a D1 scholarship played varsity from the high school here. I didn't stay. I went, didn't like it. Rod and I just became engaged for the first time. And I went over there and wanted to come home and see her, so I left, came back. We split up again. So then the next year, Ed and I go to junior college to play. And there we played for A.W. Davis, who's been an assistant at Tennessee. And he was All-American, college, first team All-SEC 2 years. Coach Denton was All-SEC first team. They both drafted, one drafted the Lakers, the other drafted the Knicks. So we were able to play with some good coaches, some people knew what they were doing. And Then we went to Delta State, and then AC Williams, a little bit at the store there with me. The players that played with, I could go on and on and on. You know, of course, we had Gary Kidd that led the state in scoring. Ed, tremendous inside player. People said because we averaged 90 points a game our senior year, that we didn't play much defense. If anybody believes that in this room, I'd like to take the beach spring into Cafeteria Ridge. Cafeteria would flat eat you alive. We had, after every practice, we would have a 5-quarter varsity scrimmage. And I love the days I was on teams opposite Terry, because he guarded me. He made my life miserable. I knew the next Tuesday and Friday night, I was going to have a field day, because the team we played was not going to play the defense Terry did in practice every day. So we had to go on and on about those guys. Coach Kent used to tell us about timing. He'd say timing is everything, and it really is. Ed and I came through this school at the perfect time to play high school basketball for Kentucky, for Edmonson County, and to play in the state of Kentucky. It was a perfect time. We averaged 90 points a game. We played in 2 years, my junior, senior year, Ed's sophomore and junior year. We played 17 teams up in the top 25 in the state. My senior year, we did not lose a game that wasn't to someone who's in the top 25. The 6 losses we had were all the top 25 teams. We played 10,000 twice in Dill Arena to play Butler County. It was a perfect time. I was talking about family a while ago, and I was going to tell this because they were here earlier. These two, Ed and Jackie, were some of the big supporters I had. They came to see me play high school, they came to college, watched me play. We were playing at Scottsville one night. Dickie Kepper, Simon Vanderbilt, started varsity his freshman year at Vandy. We were playing at Scottsville one night in their tournament, and I'm on the inside lane blocking out for the free throw. And the wall was down here, small gym was about there. And the guy beside of me just takes both hands and pushes me, and I hit the wall. And when I turned like this, Ed and Dad standing beside of me. I don't know how they got there so quick. They came out of the crowd and were standing beside of me. So they were the big supporters I had, I'm telling you. We beat the number 3 team in the state. We beat the number 8 team in the state, the number 12, 21, and 22. We played some good people and beat some good people. There's some good things that happened here. Again, I've taken up too much of your time. I appreciate you being here tonight. I appreciate the special night. Guys, I love y'all. Edmonton High School basketball has been my life. Now I'm going to get emotional. Rhonda wanted to be here. She wanted this before I did. Rhonda's here by my heart tonight. Campbellville tournament. We won it. Big tournament one day. We won it. Cheerleaders won the cheerleading competition. That's us that night. Everything I do, I've committed. Everything I do the rest of my life will be to honor her name, keep her spirit alive. She gave her life so I can live. That's exactly what happened. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Kind of what's going to happen the rest of the night, just right before the introduction, the starting lineups for the boys game, we're going to, there'll be something read. We'll have him down there by the court. Family wants to walk out with him, it'd be great. And they're going to read something, then he'll come out to center court and let both crowds help us and officially induct him into the Hall of Fame.
This is Grayson County, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they're going to welcome me.
Yes, I do. I sure do, because we've done one of these recognitions before when they were here, and they were very respectful.
They didn't see me until my coach in Grayson County.
They forgot. So thank you all for being here. Take as much food, chips, drinks as you want, and just right before the boys' game, you can be over there then, okay? Now I'm going to ease over and watch my girl play. See y'all.